Whiskey Jason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Today I have Bowsaw. So, small batch. What does small batch mean? Nothing. Extra, nothing. American whiskey. Oh, American whiskey can be 80% grain neutral spirits, vodka, and only 20% bourbon. And Kentucky. Yay. So luckily at the top of the bottle it says the following: 100% straight, original, Bowsaw small batch bourbon, Kentucky, USA. So we do have the word straight here, so we do know that it's actually a 4-year-old product because nowhere else is there an age statement on here. If it was 2 years between that and 4, you'd have to put the age statement on it. If it's under 4 years, you need to have an age statement anyways for bourbon. So 40% ABV. Now I paid 31 euros for this. Where does it come from? I don't know. Masters of Malt says that it has a mash bill of 75% corn, 21% rye, and 4% malted barley. I couldn't find anything on the lists of mash bills I found out online. I did find a few that said 75, 20, and 5 for the malted barley, but none that said 21 and 4. All right, so who knows? All right, so very, very good. Kirker and Greer is the bottler, the independent bottler. They're actually Kirker and Greer, basically a brand in Northern Ireland in Belfast. First of all, they did Irish whiskey for supermarkets and for some online trade, online shops, and now they actually have a bourbon as well. Very good. So I actually did a set of the corn whiskey and the straight bourbon together. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare it to something else, which you don't see very often, at least in the States. This is Pennypacker. Pennypacker is a bourbon, and it's bottled in Germany. Jason, that's not possible. Bourbon has to be made in America. Yes, it is made in America. This is actually shipped over in a container. So one of those big, for chemicals and for other liquids. So you put about 30 tons, 30,000 liters in this big thing. And then you bring it over to Hamburg. It's in the harbor. This is where they're actually located at. And you take it on a truck, you take it to the bottling place, and you fill it up in Germany in the bottles. You save a lot of money for the transportation because you don't have all the glass you're transporting over here. You don't have all that weight you're transporting over here. You don't have all those taxes you have to pay, because you're paying just for the value of the whiskey, which is much less in the bottle. Yeah, a bottle has a price of over here 10 euros, maybe 12 if you pay a lot, but this is a very bottom shelf whiskey. And this is a Heaven Hill product. Well done, Borco. And the funny, the amazing, the crazy thing is sometimes these bottles are sent back to America, and you're paying triple the price that we pay over here, about $30. Pennypacker is a bottom shelf Heaven Hill product, but it's good. And I'm going to compare 10 euros to 32 euros. I'm going to compare 40% to 40%. Straight Kentucky whiskey, straight Kentucky whiskey. A beautiful bottle over here, well designed, well made, to a somewhat old, there has been a redesign of the bottle and also the label, but this is the typical type of label you would find in a supermarket here in Germany. All right, let's nose them. They're within 90% of each other. I would almost be willing to bet they're actually the same product. But hey, many supermarket whiskeys do smell and almost taste very similar. You do have a lot of the cinnamon, you do have a lot of vanilla, some cinnamon, more clove, a tiny little bit of leather in there. You have a little bit of a sweet wood and a tiny little bit of tobacco leaf. It's not a great bourbon, but for the price this is offered at, for 10 euros, this is actually a very good bourbon for that price. 32, don't think so. Okay, cheers. So there are two little dips there. One was a dip where there's a little bit more of an alcohol type of acidic moment. And the second dip was a little bit of an astringency, a little bit of a woody astringency, and then it came back and got sweeter. Finish is actually higher. The finish of this is a very, very good product. This is a C product. Now, are there better bourbons out there? Yes. Are there worse bourbons out there? A few, yeah. I'm not talking about the craft stuff. I'm talking about from the big boys. Yeah, if you took an Evan Williams Black Label, probably better. The Evan Williams. Wild Turkey 101, much better. And so on and so on. All right, so there's actually things in that price category of between $10 and $20 that per bottle, which are much, much better than these are. But for the price and for what's offered over here in Europe, good stuff. All right, not great, but good stuff. Going over to the penny packer. What is interesting is, let's follow the hand. This has a tiny little bit more of a sweetness to it. It might because be the factor that's not even down below the neck pour yet. This has been basically on my shelf now for 6 months like this. There might have been some type of interaction with the oxygen so far. It's still a good whiskey. This is a tiny little bit better. This is 5, maybe even 10% better. Especially towards the end, it has more of a sweetness. Maybe a few of the barrels that were there were a little bit better than over here. But yet, they're very, very close to each other. As I said, 5, maybe 10% difference. As I said, 10 euros, 31 euros, 12. All right, on sale 10, 12 versus 32. That's a lot of money as a difference. And so I'm actually going to give both of these a solid C in their taste. What I am going to do, though, is I'm going to give this a B plus on value for money. There's hardly a whiskey out there that has a better value for money for me in my area in Germany than the penny packer. Great whiskey for a great price. A good whiskey for a great price, cannot beat it. Over here, if it would have been 20 euros, I would, all right, I can live with that. But this is 31 euros. This is a lot of money. I can get 3 of these for 1 of these. I can get a I can get a liter. I can get 2 almost Wild Turkey 101s. They're 14, 18 euros over here for 0.7 liters. Compared to this, I can almost get 2 Wild Turkeys. I would much rather have those. And that's the problem with the value for money. So this is a C minus in value for money. Why? Because, of course, you have to crack up the price. If you bring that over to Ireland, you bottle in Ireland, you ship it to Germany. I'm sure there's a few more middlemen involved in here, and they all want a cut of the pie. And so that's what that is. All right, it says in the back here, so, all right, good. Our name speaks of craftsmanship, the Cooper's craft. Coopers don't use bow saws. I'm sorry. I use a bow saw to cut off the limbs of a tree. I was a cabinet maker. I built a lot with wood. I'm a wood worker, and we do not use bow saws in our craft, even not in barrel making. We use a bandsaw, but we don't use a bow saw, people, all right? So sorry, that's the way things are. All right, so this is a solid C, and it's a solid C minus for value for money. My question of the day is, what is your favorite non-branded bourbon bottom shelf whiskey? What do I mean by non-branded? I mean a brand that is not actually owned by a distillery. So Penny Packer is not owned by a distillery. Bowsaw is not owned by a distillery. Evan Williams owned by a distillery. Elijah Craig owned by a distillery. Wild Turkey owned by a distillery. So what is your favorite non-branded your favorite bottle where the brand does not belong to the distillery? Just a question. Maybe you have to actually type and look and see if your brand that you love belongs to a distillery or not. So your favorite one that is not connected directly to a distillery. All the best. Thank you very much. WhiskyJason here. Whiskey from the viewpoint of an American tasting bourbon in Germany that you might not ever see in America. Isn't that weird the way the world goes? Penny Packer is in America sometimes for a much, much higher price. Don't buy it. It's not worth it. Go out there, buy a Heaven Hill product that's cheaper You'll get a much better value for money. And here, the Bowsaw, I don't know if it makes it over the States anytime soon, but too high priced, in my opinion. Their corn whiskey, sweeter than the middle corn, but still, I think here for $10 or $15 less, I would still go for the middle corn rather than the Bowsaw. All the best. Thank you very much. Please like, subscribe, tell others. Maybe even share this video on social media and tell others about this crazy guy over here in Europe tasting things you might not ever see. Bye.